the thing is, and this is not related necessarily to his, you know, this domestic abuse, domestic violence thing that's going on right now. But like, he took his son out to Africa for sport hunting. Now, for me, that qualifies him as a particular type of character. When you're quite happy to go and shoot things for your own entertainment. Now, there is a line here, and I'm sure a lot of people listening, or some people listening, are hunters and do hunt for food. And I think that is, if you are going to be a meat eater, that is the most ethical approach to it, especially if you source it in the right places. Matt Hughes was flying out to Africa to shoot things because he likes to shoot things. His excuse to me when we were arguing about it was that he was there, he was feeding the villagers. The meat is donated to the villagers, and they eat it. Yeah, but that's a byproduct of you going wanting to kill things. That's sociopathic behavior. And as soon as that's identified in someone, as soon as there's someone that can partake in sport hunting and not see that there's a problem there, we need to look at that person as being sick. And I think that Matt Hughes has probably been sick his whole life. And I think that his success at mixed martial arts was unfortunately a positive manifestation of that sickness. Do you know what I mean? I think we could say the same about Jon Jones. There's what's the best? There's an element of you could say narcissism to that kind of character, and it's important.
You feel omnipotent in the cage, right? Like Jon Jones's confidence that he can't get hurt or will never lose a fight plays a big part of it. It's also why it feels like he can get behind the wheel of a car wasted and do whatever he wants.
Exactly. But that's why I think people like GSP stand out, because GSP has never been that person. But you look at the majority of the people that occupy that championship space and the people that do qualify as having that championship quality, and there is an element of narcissism and there is an element of sociopathy to them, because there's a bit of a requirement of that at the top level. I mean, it stretches to the business world as well. You look at a lot of the people that work in Wall Street. There's an element of sociopathy in them as well, and that's why they are successful, because there has to be a piece with climbing over other people to get what you want. And I think that natural bullying mentality is just a manifestation of that characteristic.
And obviously you can't give away. You had named a couple of people. I asked you who you fought that reminded you a bit of Zabit or that you feel were similar. Could you repeat those just in case people didn't catch them, because the audio wasn't great when you were saying? I know you mentioned Max Holloway.
Yeah, Max Holloway, Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone. Guys like Cub Swanson would be a guy. He's pretty trickery. He likes to do a lot of spinning stuff. So we're well prepared. We're ready for this challenge. Sure. We're excited. We welcome it.
Well, I'll tell you, man. Before the situation with Jose Aldo, you were coming off 3 straight. And that was very impressive. It was with Gilbert Melendez, Tuho Choi, and Josh Emmett, who was looking extremely studly until you had your way there. So, I mean, you had some momentum until this happened with Jose. Now, Zabit has a ton of smoke. Now, I'm trying to use a cool
it's cool. Right? It works.
You want to take all that smoke. No, but he's got a lot of hype behind him. Now, you take out him. You have your way with Zabit. You're right back in there. Was that your motivation with taking this fight with Zabit?
You know what? Everybody's running from this guy from what I hear. No one wants to fight him. I kid you not. Right before I fought Emmett, I was in the back right before the weigh-ins, and Mark Delagrati came up and Sean Shelby, and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Yeah, everything's great." And this is right before I fought Emmett, and he's talking about like this Zabit dude, blah 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 blah, and I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "Hey, we take this guy out. Let's go to Russia. Never been to Russia. Let's go." And Delagrati's just like, "Damn, dude, you're a fucking animal." He's like, "I can't believe that you're talking about another fight and you got a fight lined up." And I'm like, "Hey, to me, everybody's running away from this guy. I'm not that type of dude. I think this guy is hyped up. Who's he fought? Name one guy who's really fought in the top 10. Nobody. You can't name him. He's never fought nobody like me. He's in for a big challenge, and he knows it.
We're going to ask, sorry, Matt, we're going to ask you that, too. You are definitely the biggest challenge he's had to face to date.
Yeah, exactly. Enough said. Biggest challenge that he's got. Pressure's on him.
And not for nothing, your toughness is a very strong attribute. You're a very, and that's a word overused. This guy's tough. No, you're very tough. And this other, what's the kid that stuffed it up? I don't want to say stuffed it up Zabit's ass, but he definitely
Kyle Bachniak.
Kyle was outgunned in that match, but nobody told Kyle that. So Kyle was going after him. You know the fight I'm talking about, Jeremy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle was going up after him until the end of the bell, the last bell, the final bell. He was just going after him, and Zabit almost, I think, started to get a little tired. I think he was maybe looking past this kid, and I was there for that fight, and that kid was in his face I like that Kyle. I mean, he had nothing. I mean, he wasn't intimidated. You know, and I feel you're bringing more to the table. So the second I heard this fight announced, I remember that, Jimmy. Absolutely. I was immediately psyched, as I'm sure a lot of people are.
What do you think?
I appreciate that, Matt.
No problem, buddy. I saw you briefly. Who were you cornering the other day? I saw you when I was with Aljo in Phoenix.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, sir. Great fight by Aljamain, man. He's looking sharp lately. I'm glad he's back out there with you guys, man. He's looked unstoppable, and the Funk Master's doing his funk. He's looking great. And I was cornering Miles Jury for the Andre Fili fight, but I agree with you. You know, this guy, Kyle realized like, oh boy, hits like a bitch, and he was able to just kind of bite down on the mouthpiece and like, bro, you cannot hurt me, And I'm really good at not taking a lot of hits. The damage, and and I come with a lot more smarts than that. And like I said, this is a big task for him. Without giving anything away, he's in for a long night, and I have clear intentions on hurting this guy and making it a bad night for him.
And I wanted to ask you too, because you said a lot of guys are avoiding fighting Zabit. Why do you think they're avoiding it? What is it about him, do you think, that has people nervous about taking a fight with him?
Because they're not from that Matt Serra era, bro. A lot of these guys picking and choosing, wanting money fights. I'm the type of guy you call me, and I'm confident that I can beat anybody in my division, and this is why I take these fights. A lot of people are just, let's just be honest, they're scared. Let's call it what it is. Sure. They're scared, they're intimidated. He's a Russian, Dagestani, Russian guy. People are scared. People are scared of the wrestling. People are scared of his spinning stuff. I'm not. You're not going to throw anything that I haven't seen in 10, 11 years of fighting, or even on the street. You're in there with a different level type of breed. You're in there with somebody who can knock you out with any limb. Even my cauliflower ears can knock you out. I'm telling you right now, you're in there with a different type of psycho. You talk about meanness and roughness and toughness. I have that, and I also have the skills to pay the bills. I have great fight IQ. These are the reasons why they're putting me on the main event on ESPN, because they know people are tuning in because I'm swinging. I'm trying to take you out. I got clear intentions. I'm dedicated to my craft. 2019 is going to be my year.
Jimmy, I can't recall a boring Jeremy Stephens fight.
Thinking, could you? No? I was literally just thinking you're never in a shitty fight. It's always a good fight with you. Now, you mentioned, too, that you're not afraid to look past a fight to another one, and they said you're kind of crazy. So let's just say you beat Zabit. Is there anybody you have in mind? Obviously, you're not looking past him as a fighter, but is there anybody you have in mind who you would want to line up after him if it goes your way?
Anybody who's in front of me, that Alexander just fought. There's Brian Ortega. I'd love to run it back with Jose or Max. You just give me 2 fights. Let me handle these 2 fights. We're talking about title shots and the guy next in line. Like I said, my big fat juicy goal this year, 2019, is to be the undeniable #1 contender, if not the next guy in line for a title shot.
That's a pretty realistic goal, too. A lot of guys want the title immediately. You think you're going to have to fight Zabit and at least one more guy before you're considered?
Yeah, I don't think Zabit's really highly ranked, but, go back and look at my fights before Aldo. None of them guys have fought. Them guys are sidelined due to fucked up legs and fucked up orbitals. Those guys are on the injured list, and then the other guy I sent to a military camp, so these guys, the fear that I'm putting in, the pressure, and no, this is, laugh it up, but this is real talk. I told you guys, when I knock people out, they don't fucking move, man, and this is real shit. Gilbert, his leg's still hurting, he's walking around like an injured calf. Choi, man, he went off to military pushing papers because he realized he ran into a real one. Emmett, Who knows where he's at, man? He's nowhere to be seen. These guys are seriously fucked up, and that's the type of fight that I bring to the table. And this guy, I look forward to putting my clear intentions on him and making him quit on the stool. So, this is my time.
I think Jeremy just put three guys' careers on hold when they fought him.
Yeah, he really did.
Well, people should look into that before they sign to fight Jeremy Stevens. They got to say, holy fuck, my livelihood could be at stake, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy, it's like you having a bad night of comedy and never working again, or not working for a good amount of time.
That would make a lot of people happy. All right, Jeremy, look, man, I'm looking forward to watching. This is an incredible fight. And, even though you're higher ranked by quite a few, it's a smart fight to take, too, because he's a guy everybody's talking about, and it's a high-profile fight. So I think you're definitely – guys like you in your position who take a lower-ranked hot prospect who's doing really well is a very, very ballsy thing, and a lot of guys don't do it. So I'm really glad that you took this fight.
So you're a throwback, Jeremy Stevens.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, definitely. I better get him now before a couple more years and he actually starts fighting good guys and really getting that fight experience and moves on to do great things. There's no doubt in my mind that the kid is sharp. We're well prepared. And in the future, he's going to be great. But March 2nd is my night, and he's in for a long one.